Hey guys, Hector Castillo, girlschase.com, here for more Girls Chase videos. Today I want to talk about how to pick up girls even though you're a short fuck. So, I'm a short fuck. I am close to 175, but that's like 5'8", so I think I'm a little bit shorter if I'm being honest. I'm around 5'7", 5'8", depending on you get a little bit taller if you stretch and if you keep a good posture and it stretches out your bones, and you just look taller because you're extending your height. So you should make yourself taller if you can with your posture, which we'll get into soon, because basically I do want to be honest with you, and that is taller guys are more attractive. If you think that I'm the kind of guy who's going to give you some cookies and make you feel good, you're watching the wrong fucking videos. So I'm gonna tell you the truth. Tall guys are really attractive. Being tall is probably the single best genetically determined thing that you can have that's attractive. There's other things that blow being tall out of the fucking water, but those are more like things that the way that you act and things that you achieve. Think of Prince, right? I think he was like 5'4", 5'5", and he's a sex symbol.
That's right. Hey, Prince, could you just say, Sherry, I love you?
Thank you. Sherry, I love you.
So, being tall is attractive. If that upsets you, I'm sorry, it's just the truth. If you want to use it as an excuse to not go pick up girls, or as an excuse for why you get outcompeted for girls by taller guys, go ahead, you have my full blessing, but that's not my style. I don't like to make excuses. You're kind of stuck with, what you are. So, I accept the fact that I'm relatively short. Not super short, pretty short. So, the way that you overcome that, because it is something that you have to overcome, is that you need to make yourself appear larger than you are. And I'm not talking about wearing platform shoes like Mystery did back in the day, but it helped because he was like 6'3", 6'4" already, and then wore platform shoes. It did have an effect on women and made them feel, submissive because he's just so tall. It can work, but that's, again, not my style. If that's your style, go ahead. Please send me a picture. I'm really curious how you look with some big-ass platform shoes. Have you ever tried to wear heels? You should try it one time. It's kind of fun. I ran like a mile in them. So if girls complain about wearing heels, they're bitches because it's easy. Okay, back to being short. So, if you're short, you have to make yourself appear taller or stronger. So, you can already get an idea of what I'm going to tell you to do. Get bigger, get more girth, get your chest big, get biceps, get that cut fucking thing on your jawline, and just look as good as possible, because you're going to have this effect on women that you're not only with girth-wise bigger, but you just have this presence. And I just made a video on presence, so I'll get into that a little bit, because there are the physical things you can do, like put on weight, dress. I guess like in the winter, you can dress with layers, and that'll give you, this look, this visual that you are bigger than you actually are, because you can't go this way, but you can go this way. But there's also the attitude thing. So I remember back in the days when I first started posting on the Girls Chase forums. That's where, we post about, I went on this date with this girl and her name is, give her some nickname, and then you have your fake name. Mine was Anatman, which is Sanskrit for no one. It's a Buddhist, kind of nobody, kind of what it means. Basically, it's a Buddhist term, and that was like my clever way of, being Hector at the time. And I would post, and then I would, talk about the girls that I slept with. This is her nickname, and she was super hot, and this happened, I fucked her this way. It's kind of a way for us to document what we do. So on these forums, I kind of got famous. That's where I got my credibility for the website that I'm from, girlschase.com. Check it out. And by the end of the first year of me posting, I really got big. And I remember distinctly someone asked me how tall I was. And they basically were like, when I read your forum posts, I thought you were this fucking 6'5", 2 meters or something tall. If you're European and don't use the best measurements on the world. So, monstrous. Just a big motherfucking Latino guy. That's what they fucking expected me to be. And then I tell them, or they saw me and they're like, you're way shorter than I thought you were gonna be. Even my one of my friends, one of the guys who edits for us, he asked me how tall I was. And I was like, oh, stand up. I think I'm shorter than you. He's like, no, you're taller than me. And we stood up. He's like, oh, shit. You're actually pretty short. I thought you were bigger than you really were. Now, this wasn't something that happened by accident. As I explained in the presence video, presence is a thing that you build. So you can change your physical attributes by dressing in cool ways, being attractive overall, which is also part of my argument here, is that you just need to become attractive overall, and women are gonna not care about the short thing anymore. It's obviously not gonna be their favorite thing, but your benefits are gonna outweigh your cons. So you can act in a certain way that's attractive, and then you can also do this thing that I call presence, which I want to go over really, really quickly. Presence is, and check out the full video for a better explanation, but it's your ability to project your being on a larger level than it actually physically encompasses. So I have a small frame, a little bit staunchy, a little bit buff, but not super big, and then I'm short. So I don't have much of a physical presence. But because of my years and years and years of learning how to appear more attractive and act more attractively and make myself more valuable as a human being to other people, I learned how to make myself appear better than maybe I actually am. That's just marketing. It's not, you could call it fake. And again, you could rebel against this and think, oh, it doesn't matter, that's just not being yourself and you have to be yourself, but I'm short and so myself sucks and girls are not gonna want me. If you wanna think like that, go ahead. But in my experience, you can actually change the way that you are seen by other people. It's almost like their physical reality can shift. Have you ever met someone and then you thought they weren't that attractive, but then the more you get to know them, you're like, oh fuck, like they're actually really cool. A guy, like you don't have to be gay for him, but you're like, oh, this guy's actually like a cool guy, and you see him getting girls and you're like, oh yeah, he's like an attractive guy. But when you first met him, you're like, no, physically he's not. He's short or something, or he's just ugly. But then you have when you meet someone who is hot and then they open their fucking mouth and they're really unattractive. You probably still want to fuck them if they're a girl because, whatever, I'll just get drunk so I don't have to listen to the dumb shit you say, and I'll just put my dick inside of you and then never talk to you again because you're annoying. But she definitely got less hot. And you've also had a situation where a girl was pretty, but not quite gorgeous. And then you got to know her and she's super fucking cool. She's really funny. She's fun to be around. And you're like, oh man, this girl's really, really hot. So you can change your physical reality to other people. You might not change the actual measurements, but you can change how people interpret those measurements. So if you're a cool guy, you dress well, you act in a very dominant way, right? You're short, but you're confident, okay, you're not afraid, which means in a very tribal, savage, we're all animals walking around and trying to fuck each other and survive kind of perspective. A guy who's confident, who's short and walking around, he's actually projecting that he doesn't give a shit if there's a 6'5" guy next to him who could kill him actually at any moment. He might get arrested because we live in society, but he could maybe get away with it. But he's still confident. Whoa, what's this guy know? Does he know how to fight? Does he have a gun on him? Is he just really good at talking and he can, de-escalate any situation? He's being confident despite him being in very real physical fucking danger. So that's hot, that's dominant. That's like if you were some warrior back in the day and you were the chieftain of your tribe, but you weren't nearly the biggest guy, but everyone knew that if they wanted to fuck with you and take your spot, you'd slit them open and then hang them up and dry them and use them as a fur coat. But that's obviously not what we're, living in now, but in a way we actually are. So we're living in a society, but we're still operating animalistically. So you need to be projecting the things that are gonna make her think, wow, this guy's a savage and he's awesome and he's powerful, even if he's not physically the most intimidating guy. So again, you do that by appearing cool, dressing cool, acting cool, getting bigger, but then also working on your presence. Work on your ability, and I would say actively, the way that you practically improve that is just by becoming more dominant. If you're a guy who can go out, dominant literally just means one thing: you get what you want. You don't have to be domineering, but you should be dominant. And the more dominant you get, you're gonna notice that girls are gonna start looking at you, and even though you're short, they're gonna start to notice that you're getting taller. They don't know quite why. Maybe they're not gonna physically see it, but they're gonna feel like you're taller. And that's gonna get them wet because guys like big men. But bigness and largeness doesn't always have to come in a physical form. It can come in a form that's a little bit more esoteric and mystical, and you can't quite explain it. But if you're short, you can become big. And the best recent example of this, which will bring glory to all the other short men watching this video, is something that happened at a bar a couple months back. There was this really beautiful girl, and I was with my friend who's like 6'5". He's a fucking Viking, Thor. And, but I saw this girl, she was taller than me, and she was just absolutely beautiful. And I saw her look at me, and my friend literally just said to me, hey, we should do an approach. And I just said, I'm already on it. Walked up to her, started talking to her. She was warm, right? Because she gave me an approach invitation. But she wasn't quite there. There was something blocking her. Her friend, at the time, was kind of being a bitch. She was really in a bad mood. She's saying, I just want to go home, blah, blah, blah. But eventually she started to notice the 6'5" gorgeous Viking standing next to her. And, 10 minutes later, they were making out. And while they were making out, and obviously getting really excited to fuck, I was talking to her friend, who seemed interested in conversation. But there was this wall, and I didn't know what it was. So we all decided to go for a walk together, and eventually maybe make our way back to their place and hopefully, each get a girl. But while we were doing that, at some point, some guy grabbed the girl that I was with, and he knew her, and it was like, hey, I need to talk to her for like a few minutes. And he was obviously gonna try and shoot his shot and take her away. But I was like, whatever. And she's like, hey guys, I'll be back. And she's talking to him, and I look at her friend, and I say, oh, he's, shooting his shot. He's really going for it. And she's like, he's not gonna get it. She doesn't like him. He's just some guy. And so I'm like, okay, cool. And then I look at her, and I go, does she like me? And the friend just looks at me and says she thinks you're short. That was her first reaction. And at first, it kind of hurt. I was like, oh, that sucks, Yeah, we can't really change that. But then, the reality set in. I was like, I don't give a fuck. So I look at her friend, and I say, besides me being short, does she like me? And she looked at me and she said, yeah. And I was like, no problem. 10 minutes later, I was making out with her. So it obviously doesn't matter that I was short that much, because I knew how to be bigger than I was. Even though I wasn't, I was shorter than her even, right? It could just be that you're short, you're taller than her, but I was actually even shorter than her, which also double negative added to the not hotness of the prospect of sleeping with me. But because I had game, and because I have game, I can be dominant and get what I want in social situations, I became more sexy. And also the fact that I didn't give a shit if I was short, even though her friend literally brought it up to my face, probably made me more attractive to her friend. She's like, oh, this guy really doesn't give a fuck. That's really hot. Like, that's really attractive in a guy. And then that started to resonate in this energy of Hector might be short, but he'll fuck you really hard. Then I became bigger than I actually was. And you can do that through the ways that I just fucking talked about. So I hope you enjoyed the video. All the short guys out there is hope. You can outcompete any tall guy. I can outcompete tall, good-looking guys who have muscles and who are rich and have great game any day. If you're better, you can get it, even if you're short. So get big here, and then get big here, and put it in your pussy. Okay, Hector Castillo, girlschase.com. Please follow me on my social medias, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring the bell so you get notifications, and I'll see you very soon.